All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about one of the biggest questions out there for any organization. How in the world do you govern AI? And we're going to see how it's not just about following a bunch of new rules, but actually about building a serious competitive edge.
I mean, you see it everywhere, right? AI is completely reshaping our world, changing how we work, how we live. The potential is just massive. But with all that power comes this huge question that every leader is asking. How do we do this right? How do we build AI that's not just powerful, but also safe, fair, and something people can actually trust?
And to get a sense of just how big this is, check out this recent quote from McKinsey. They talk about three tectonic forces that are literally shaking up the entire business landscape. And guess what's at the heart of the biggest one? You got it, AI. So we're not talking about a small ripple here. This is a full-blown earthquake under our feet.
So let's start with the why. Why is everyone suddenly talking about AI governance? Well, it's because the change that's coming is bigger and faster than pretty much anything we've ever seen before.
This AI-driven shift, it's touching every single part of a modern company. McKinsey lays it out. We're talking about a total rethink of how work gets done. You've got organizations becoming AI-enabled from the ground up. You have humans and AI agents literally collaborating side by side. It even changes what it means to be a leader in this new world. It's a complete transformation.
And this really gets to the heart of the problem, doesn't it? When you have a technology that's powerful enough to rewrite everything from your internal processes to your biggest corporate strategies, it also brings some serious risks to the table. We're talking about bias, privacy, security, the whole shebang. So how do you get all the good stuff while dodging the dangers? Well, the world's first major answer is finally here. So, what is this big global response? It's the European Union's AI Act. This is a huge deal. It's the world's first real, binding, legal rule book for artificial intelligence. And believe me, it's setting the standard for how AI will be built and used across the globe. Now, the EU Act is smart. It doesn't treat all AI the same. It focuses on risk, and the category that matters most is what they call a high-risk AI system. Sure, that includes stuff like critical infrastructure, but think about hiring too. If your AI recruiting tool unfairly weeds out qualified people because of biased data, well, that's messing with their fundamental rights. And systems like that, they're going to face the toughest rules. So for these high-risk systems, what's the one thing regulators are laser focused on? It all comes down to a single word: data. The law makes it incredibly clear that the quality of the data you use to train and test these systems is everything. That old saying, garbage in, garbage out, it now comes with some very real legal consequences. Okay, so what does high-quality data actually mean in the eyes of the law? Article 10 breaks it down into four key things. First, your data has to be relevant. It's got to match what the AI is supposed to do. Second, it has to be representative. It needs to accurately reflect the group of people it's going to affect. Third, it needs to be as error-free as humanly possible. And finally, it has to be complete, no huge, glaring gaps. If you miss on any of these, you're just not compliant. Simple as that. All right, so the EU has given us the rules. The what? But rules on paper are one thing. How does a company actually do all this in a systematic way? That brings us to the how, a new global standard built for exactly this purpose. And here it is, the AI Management System, or AIMS. This idea, which is now formalized in a global standard called ISO/IEC 42001, is basically the practical instruction manual for the EU AI Act. It's a structured, formal way to build everything, risk management, ethics, compliance, right into the DNA of your organization. So you can think of ISO 4201 as the blueprint for building your AI house. It's the globally recognized playbook for doing AI responsibly. It gives you the policies, the processes, and all the controls you need to manage AI from the very first sketch on the whiteboard all the way to its release and beyond. And let's be clear, doing this is about so much more than just ticking a compliance box. The business payoffs are real. You end up with better, more reliable AI systems. Your governance gets way stronger. You can actually lower your development costs. And maybe most important of all, you build real, lasting trust with your customers and stakeholders. And you just can't put a price on that. And that brings us to the final and I think most exciting piece of this whole puzzle, the so what. Why does any of this, the law, the standard, the whole management system, really matter for your company's bottom line? Here's the big takeaway. all this governance stuff isn't a burden, it's actually a catalyst. It turns out that the very same things you have to do to follow the new rules are the exact same things that make you a higher performing, more innovative, and more resilient organization in the age of AI. And this is where it all clicks. Just look at how this all connects. Let's take the first row. The EU rule says you must check your data for bias. The ISO framework gives you the how. You implement systematic risk assessments. And the result for your business? You get a sharper focus on diversity and inclusion, which we know is a huge driver of performance. Or how about the second one? The rule says your data must be relevant. The framework makes you create clear AI policies. The result? Your whole organization gets better at focusing on its core mission. It's a straight line from rule to framework to result. This isn't about avoiding punishment. It's about unlocking performance. So we'll end on this thought. In this new era, just using AI isn't going to cut it. The companies that are going to win are the ones that build their AI on a rock-solid foundation of responsibility and trust. The rules are out there. The playbook exists. So the question isn't if you're going to govern your AI, it's how well you're going to do it.